Pick your mans up.
And just because people used to come through shooting at us every day. And this block, words can't even explain, man. Can't even explain.
Yeah, man.
Little school Valley, 05 way on money.
Young Money, man. They in the building.
600 boy, LA, man. LA Capone, man. Get it to him, man. OC2 boys, man. Team
Lock on number 9, man. Number 9 shooter, you hear me?
Hey, bitch, you little bitch. Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with you? Hey, I am Brick Squad. Yeah, Brick Squad, boy. What the fuck is you talking about, boy?
You have to be willing to die or go to jail for 100 years if that's the lane that you're stepping in. You have to understand that whether you 15, 16, you got to think like a man. You know what I'm saying?
So don't be in it. Oh, you're not? Why does everybody say you're only 16 years old?
They say what they want to say.
How old
How old are you?
300.
The story of Lil Les. This is the story of Lil Les, a member from PocketTown with multiple bodies under his belt who played a major role in the wars across the east side and south side of Chicago. However, the reputation wasn't just on him. His brothers were also massive factors on the streets, leaving behind a legacy where every single one of them is now either locked up for life or dead. In this video, we will dive into his life, his heavy work on the block, and his desperate fight against his sentence. Lil Les, whose real name is Lester Owens, was born on August 19, 1989, in Chicago, Illinois. Recognized as the PocketTown General, Les grew up on the block and built a reputation that made him one of the most prominent figures in the set's history. There has long been street chatter and speculation regarding his parentage, specifically surrounding rumors that he and his siblings are the sons of Larry Hoover Jr., which would make them the grandsons of Gangster Disciples founder Larry Hoover Sr. While these claims circulate heavily online due to social media posts and images where Larry Hoover Jr. publicly refers to Les and his brother as his sons, it remains unconfirmed whether there is a biological connection or if the relationship is a close mentorship and street bond. Lil Les is the younger brother of King Rico, one of PocketTown's most respected members and leaders who is currently serving 55 years for a murder. Les is also the older brother of Rio G from PocketTown, another very respected member, who was gunned down in 2020. Lil Les shares a very close bond with his mother, Trina, who originally hailed from Zoland, a neighborhood right next to PocketTown. His mother played a major role in his life. An interesting fact is that it was actually Trina who custom crafted the Gucci eye patch he famously wore, including the one seen in his most recognizable thumbnail photos. Lil Les jumped off the porch in the early 2000s right around the millennium shift. He was taught the streets by his older brother but also other older figures around him that he looked up to. By 2004, at just 15 years old, Lil Les was already racking up arrests and police mugshots. While earlier juvenile records are hard to track down, his paper trail starting in mid-2004 shows just how rapidly his run-ins with the law escalated. In early July 2004, Les was picked up for battery causing bodily harm. Just a month later, he was booked for criminal trespassing, followed by a charge for disorderly conduct a few months after that. Weeks later, he faced a much heavier charge for aggravated battery with a weapon. Despite the severity of that crime, Les was back on the pavement quickly, only to be arrested again in December 2004 for possession of a stolen vehicle. The momentum didn't slow down in 2005, where he was arrested 5 separate times for various minor offenses. But by 2006, the charges turned significantly heavier. Across 2006, Les was booked a total of 6 times. His very first arrest that year was for first-degree murder, a charge he managed to beat almost immediately, considering he was back on the block just weeks later. Over the following months, he was picked up twice more for battery, followed by charges for trespassing and unlawful possession of a firearm. By the time he was barely past his mid-teens, Lil Les had earned a reputation across the neighborhood as a true loose cannon. In May 2008, Lil Les received news that completely shattered him. His 4-year younger sister, Lady Shaw, had been killed. Known for being intensely protective of her, Les was utterly heartbroken and carried a heavy weight of personal guilt over her loss since he always wanted to protect her. According to an anonymous source, the individual responsible for Lady Shaw's murder was affiliated with PocketTown's New Breed faction. Though a suspect was eventually arrested, they were later acquitted due to a lack of evidence, leaving the exact motive unresolved. By many accounts, Taylor was never the intended target. Word on the block was that she had sneaked out of her house with a friend to hang out with guys from Chestnut/Zoland, simply ending up in the wrong place at the wrong time when shots were fired. Taylor was a popular 8th grader who played basketball for Dunbar-Pulaski Middle School and stayed away from street drama. In the wake of her death, her friends gathered at the site where she was gunned down to pray and comfort each other. She was a good friend. We always joke around, play, and just talk all the time. She was cool. I will miss her, though, shared one of her close friends. The tragic loss resonated heavily throughout her school community as well. It tears at your heart. We just hear far too much of it. The primary concern should be school and making friends, and we should not have to worry about the kind of adult dangers they are faced with, said Michael Collins, principal of Dunbar-Pulaski. Her basketball coach reflected on the sudden reality of the violence. It hits really in the gut. It hits home. And maybe some of our kids are going to realize what's going on today because it's interesting. So one day, or 1 minute, and the next few seconds, you're gone. To honor her memory and make sure her legacy lived on, PocketTown later adopted the name Shaw City. The PocketTown New Breed member allegedly behind Lady Shaw's murder was identified as 18-year-old Prentice Ship. He was held on charges of first-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder in connection with the May 26 shooting death of Lil Les's sister, Sharkelia, who resided in Gary but frequently visited the city. According to reports, Ship fired multiple shots into a crowd of teenagers, striking Sharkelia in the back, which tragically proved fatal, and hitting a 19-year-old woman in the leg. What made the tragedy even more complex was that Ship had actually been close with both Lil Les and King Rico. In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, members of the PocketTown gangsters attempted to retaliate by kidnapping Ship with plans to kill him. However, Ship managed to escape after jumping out of the cars drunk and fleeing, never showing his face around the set again. While he was eventually arrested for the murder, he was later acquitted due to a lack of sufficient evidence. As you know, Lil Les comes from PocketTown, which is both the name of the area and the actual gang he claimed. One thing to understand about PocketTown is that it wasn't started or named by a single person. The name actually comes from the geography of the neighborhood itself, often referred to as the Pocket, because the area is literally shaped like a pocket on a map. Located within the Greater Grand Crossing community area, PocketTown's turf stretches from 69th Street and Kimbark Avenue in the northeast, down 71st Street, Cottage Grove, and South Chicago Avenue on the west, and runs to 75th, South Chicago, and Woodlawn Avenue on the south. While it's technically on the south side, many still group it in with the east side scene. PocketTown shares borders with a mix of allies and heavy ops, including E-Block, KTS, Gotti World, Malltown, and Sirconn City. The lines are extremely tight. You could be walking down East 73rd Street and instantly step directly into Sirconn City territory without even realizing it. What a lot of people don't know is that PocketTown is actually split into two factions, the original PocketTown, who claim new breeds, and Crazy Town Gangsters, or CTG, who claim GD. However, in reality, there is virtually no division between them. They operate as one unit, share the exact same block, and hang out daily. Back in the 80s and 90s, the set was predominantly new breed, but over the years, the majority, especially the younger generation, has shifted over to GD. Like many other sets such as No Limit and Sirconn City, PocketTown has a long history that goes back decades. The gang has been around since the late 80s, and just like other East Side groups at the time, their main focus was making money and running drugs. While violence and shootings definitely happened to protect their blocks and supply lines, murder wasn't the main objective yet, the bag was. You can't break down PocketTown's history without talking about Nate Hill, the ultimate kingpin of the set in the late 80s. Nate wasn't just big in Chicago, he grew to become one of the largest cocaine distributors in the entire United States throughout the late 80s and early 90s. Federal documents state that Nate Hill's organization moved thousands of kilos of cocaine every single month through Chicago, pulling in well over $100 million in profit and earning him a spot on the U.S. Marshal's 15 Most Wanted list. Nate was a natural businessman who knew how to turn any opportunity into cold cash. Growing up on 71st and Kimbark during the 70s, he came from total poverty. During the winters, his family barely had heat in the house, and his mother worked non-stop just to put food on the table. Things got even tighter when his mother fell ill, forcing his father to step up, which pushed Nate to start hustling on the block to help out. His whole empire started over a simple debt. A guy owed Nate $300 for a stolen car, but instead of cash, he offered $300 worth of cocaine. Nate took the deal and went over to Base Camp, a notorious spot in PocketTown where people bought and freebased coke. Within a few hours, he had already doubled his money. From that moment, there was no looking back. Nate scaled up rapidly, laundering his millions through a legitimate charter bus company and securing direct supply lines from major cartels out of California and Mexico. In his autobiographical book, Story of a Chicago Kingpin, Nate Hill detailed how he supplied the Black Disciples, Black P-Stones, Vice Lords, New Breeds, and Gangster Disciples with thousands of kilos of cocaine from the mid-1980s up until 1995, when he claims he officially stepped away. When he pulled out of the game, it triggered a massive citywide cocaine drought, showing just how much product he was single-handedly moving through Chicago. In 1996, federal prosecutors hit him with a heavy indictment, charging him with distribution of over 3 tons of cocaine to the Gangster Disciples and Vice Lords between 1987 and 1995. During that era, major organizations demanded street taxes from anyone hustling on Chicago blocks. When rival factions believed Nate fled the city in the early 90s to duck paying taxes, he was targeted and shot in the back and legs, Nate was far from a passive target, though. He placed hits on rival gang members who attempted to rob, kidnap, or execute him and his family. 3 of those hits resulted in 2 fatalities and left a third man wounded. Before federal authorities finally tracked him down and secured a life sentence, Nate fled to Guinea in West Africa to go into hiding. Even while on the run, his business instincts kicked in. In Guinea, he launched a massive coffee operation that generated millions. He even managed to unite tribal leaders across Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia to power the venture, a move he later reflected on with immense pride, shifting from poisoning his hometown streets with narcotics to helping build up local African communities and fight hunger. Beyond the drug trade, Nate had a massive passion for cars and worked as a skilled mechanic. He organized high-stakes street races throughout PocketTown and across the South Side, single-handedly turning the scene on the far South Side into a major social hub. His events brought people together to race, hang out, and turn spots like the White Castle on 79th and Stony Island into iconic local kick-it spots. Nate was also deeply passionate about music, laying the groundwork for the rich hip-hop culture that would define PocketTown and KTS from the early 2000s onward. Around 1991, right after he was shot and temporarily paralyzed, Nate left Chicago for New York and Los Angeles to set up headquarters for his own label, PocketTown Records. The label was heavily backed by his drug money and operated as a front for money laundering. While Nate was on the run in Africa, his sister managed the front operations, which eventually led to her and 2 associates being convicted of federal money laundering charges. Despite the illicit backing, PocketTown Records made real noise in the industry, producing tracks like Nothing Nice and working alongside Chicago legends Crucial Conflict. The label even financed Lisa Ray's first feature film, which co-starred MC8 and Bernie Mac, though the movie was ultimately shelved and never released after the FBI stepped in and seized the assets. In the aftermath, JoJo Capone publicly accused MC8 of snitching on both Nate Hill and Gunsmoke from PocketTown, setting off a whole separate era of street tension. Moving into the 21st century, PocketTown's history centers largely around Lil Les and his brothers, who eventually stepped up as the leaders of the set. Lil Les was a genuine menace who put fear into the entire East Side, allegedly responsible for multiple murders and even sparking the creation of new rival gangs by taking out their core members. His name has carried heavy weight since the early 2000s, back when he was only 12 to 14 years old, eventually growing to be feared even by the older heads on his own block. Just like Nate Hill, who actively mentored many of the younger guys coming up, Lil Les, Rico, and Corey, Mike Larry, Pez, and a crew of other PocketTown teens were focused strictly on getting money. Coming up, they noticed the OGs were pocketing all the profits while the younger generation did the legwork. Refusing to settle for crumbs, Les, Rico, and their crew started robbing the old heads, stealing cars, running drug spots, and taking over by force. This sparked intense internal fights and shootings between the original big homies and the new generation. By around 2005 or 2006, the younger, modern-day era of PocketTown had officially taken control of the territory. Leading the charge was Lil Les's older brother, King Rico, also known as Money Man, who schooled Les from an early age on how to run drug spots, steal cars, and maneuver on the block. Before diving into the violence and the alleged murders surrounding Lil Les, it's impossible to tell his full story without talking about the music. Following the blueprint Nate Hill laid down decades earlier, music became a massive priority and hustle for PocketTown. Lil Les himself jumped on the mic, dropping a raw, underground Chicago mixtape titled Chicago Menace. The project tapped into an old-school hip-hop feel, packed with raw freestyles that he famously previewed and recorded while kicking it over in the 100s near the Altgeld Gardens neighborhood. While Lil Les strictly repped PocketTown, he also had heavy ties to Concordia and even graduated from Dubois Elementary School in the area. Along the way, he networked with other local talent, including collaborating with artists like King Samson. Lil Les was far from the only person putting on for the neighborhood through music. PocketTown produced a deep roster of talent over the years, including Denny G, Lil Don, Lil Raw, Lil Art, Jojo Capone, K-Dog, Twin Glocks, and Tone Montana. That's not even counting the heavy hitters to come out of their allied KTS camp, like KTS Vaughn, KTS Trey, and KTS Prince. For the block, rap wasn't just a hobby. They recognized early on that it was a legitimate pathway to money, leverage, and notoriety. Setting aside Lil Les and KTS Vaughn, Denny G stands out as one of the most talented and widely recognized artists to emerge directly from PocketTown. Around 2012 and 2013, right as the Chicago drill scene officially exploded onto the global stage, Denny G carved out a massive local buzz with standout tracks like It's Going Down, I Can't Win for Losing, and Drug Dealer. For anyone who has followed the backstory of Rio City, it's well known that ABM and PocketTown originally maintained a strong bond. Members from both sets kicked it heavy, and Lil Les was known for throwing massive parties across the South Side. During that era, Lil Les, Corey, and King Rico even jumped into ABM's beefs, sliding, shooting, and robbing rivals from Murder Town. Street lore frequently ties Lil Les to the 2005 killing of Dro from Murder Town, an event that directly sparked the formation of Rio City, though competing theories suggest either the Black P-Stones or Cranktown were responsible. ABM's relationship with PocketTown existed alongside a fragile web of street politics. A key figure in ABM named Jarvis was cool with both PocketTown and their sworn ops, Sirconn City. In December 2005, Jarvis was kicking it at a house party packed with Sirconn City members. When Lil Les and a few PocketTown guys pulled up and knocked on the door, Jarvis, whom they considered a close homie, refused to let them in. Jarvis likely made the call to prevent an immediate shootout inside the party, knowing what would happen if rival sets crossed paths on his watch. That decision proved fatal. Lil Les returned to the party shortly after, confronted Jarvis, and shot him point blank in the face, killing him instantly at the scene. In the aftermath, ABM rebranded themselves as Rio City to honor Jarvis's memory, which is why street historians credit Lil Les with inadvertently inventing Rio City. The immediate retaliation didn't erupt into all-out warfare overnight, largely because the street dynamic in the mid-2000s differed from the modern get-back gang era. While gang members still occasionally talked through disputes rather than instantly sliding, Lil Les continued to press the issue, repeatedly shooting up ABM's blocks. When ABM finally retaliated by killing Lil Albert from PocketTown, the response was swift and brutal. PocketTown immediately struck back, taking out another Rio member. Outmatched by PocketTown's deep war experience and relentless aggression, ABM essentially pulled back. At that time, many ABM members were still focused primarily on chasing paper and selling drugs rather than engaging in prolonged, bloody territory wars. Beyond his involvement with Jarvis and Dro, Lil Les held a legendary reputation across the south and east sides, with rumors tying him to several other street shootings and homicides. Among these is the July 2009 murder of Terrence, better known as Lil Mo, from Sirconn City gangsters, not to be confused with Lil Mo from Lamron. While street chatter frequently pinned Lil Mo's death on Lil Les, another widely circulated rumor claimed that No Love City carried out the hit, specifically pointing to an NLC member named Tone Bone. Online claims insisted Tone Bone was convicted and sentenced to 60 years for the crime. However, that theory quickly falls apart under scrutiny. Public records show no evidence of an Antonio Scott serving a 60-year murder sentence in Illinois. An Antonio Scott was indeed arrested shortly after the incident, but that arrest was tied to an unrelated armed robbery case. Furthermore, Scott was only around 13 years old at the time, making his involvement as a convicted hitman in that murder highly implausible. To this day, Lil Mo's case remains officially unsolved, split between street theories blaming Lil Les and those pointing toward NLC. Lil Les was also widely rumored to have repeatedly shot up Sirconn City's blocks, robbed various ops in their neighborhood, and allegedly killed another Sirconn City member named Julian. Because many of these events took place 10 to 15 years ago, precise details remain wrapped in street rumors. The one constant in all the noise is the killing of Jarvis, a murder so well documented that even 600 Breezy explicitly referenced Lil Les as the shooter on Twitter. Back in 2005, when Lil Les took Jarvis's life at that party, the war between PocketTown and Sirconn City wasn't anywhere near as bloody as it would eventually become. In fact, things were calm enough that certain members were still cool with each other. The two sets would even set up neighborhood basketball games, with Sirconn members coming straight into the pocket to run full-court games for cash. While heavy arguments and fights would break out during these high-stakes games every now and then, September 2006 marked the exact point of no return where the rivalry officially turned deadly. On September 22, 2006, members from both sides met up on PocketTown's turf for another match. 5 guys from Sirconn, including Kevin and Demetrius, pulled up to face 5 players from PocketTown in a game with $200 on the line. Suiting up for PocketTown were Lil Les, his older brother King Rico, and Corey. The game never reached a final whistle. Tempers flared mid-match, arguments broke out, and a chaotic brawl erupted on the court. Before the dust could even settle, someone from PocketTown pulled a gun and started letting off shots directly at Demetrius. Panicked, Demetrius abandoned his parked car and ran for his life, sprinting all the way back towards Sirconn City territory. The day after the basketball game, The situation spiraled completely out of control. Lil Les was riding in traffic when a member from Sirconn City ran up to his car and shot him point blank in the face. Rushed immediately to the hospital for emergency surgery, Les miraculously survived, though he tragically lost sight in his left eye. My source pointed to a stone from Outlaw City known as Lil Mo, who was essentially used as a send-off and given a gun to execute the hit, as the shooter. Lil Mo survived the era and is rumored to have walked away from the gang lifestyle entirely. While Lil Les was recovering, his older brother, King Rico, visited him in the hospital. Whatever was said in that room set off an immediate retaliation against Sirconn City. On September 24, 2006, just 24 hours after Les was shot, King Rico retaliated. 19-year-old Damian Kendricks from Sirconn City was gunned down in an alley near 76th and Dorchester and Grand Crossing. According to police reports, witnesses spotted 4 men wearing pulled-up hoodies fleeing the alley with guns drawn. Ultimately, King Rico was the only person convicted for the murder, receiving a 55-year prison sentence. The key witnesses who pointed him out were Kevin and Demetrius from Sirconn City. Witnesses also placed Bodie, Cello, and Corey from PocketTown at the scene, with one witness claiming Corey opened fire alongside Rico. Despite the testimony, Corey was never convicted of the crime. Cello, Bodie, Corey, Lil Les, and King Rico formed the core group putting in heavy work for PocketTown during that era. Today, their fates mirror the harsh outcome of the streets. 3 are serving time for murder, 1 is scheduled for release in 2030. And 1 is dead. While his brother King Rico was fighting a 55-year sentence based on shaky testimony, Lil Les was fighting his own battle with the law, a move that would solidify his legacy on the streets forever. Demetrius from Sirconn City, the primary witness who took the stand against King Rico, developed a notorious reputation as a snitch. Sirconn City eventually cut ties with him entirely, if they ever truly claimed him at all. Years after testifying against Rico, Demetrius landed in prison himself in 2016. While behind bars, he ended up cellmates with Dwight Boone Doty, a Terror Dome Stone locked up for the tragic 2015 murder of 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee, whose father was a respected killer Rio G. Demetrius secretly recorded Boone Doty bragging about the crime, handed the tapes over, and took the stand yet again, triggering a chain of events and retaliations on the outside. Meanwhile, King Rico maintained his complete innocence from behind bars, telling Injustice Watch, "It's always on my mind what I'm doing locked up, because I had nothing to do with this." An investigation highlighted heavy red flags in Rico's conviction, including coerced statements and recanted testimony. Through all of this family turmoil, Lil Les demonstrated the ultimate loyalty to PocketTown. In 2009, Les and a group of younger members got caught up in a high-stakes shootout. When law enforcement moved in and grabbed everyone, Les made a decision that defined his status on the east side. He stepped up and took the entire charge on himself so the younger guys wouldn't face life behind bars. Because Les swallowed the weight of the case, the younger members only received 4-year sentences. Les, on the other hand, was hit with a 24-year sentence, 2 consecutive 12-year terms for aggravated battery with a firearm. Currently serving his time with a scheduled release in 2030, taking that massive bid for his shorties is precisely why Lil Les remains one of the most respected and revered figures in PocketTown history. When we deep dive into Lil Les's case and what actually happened, Lil Les claims complete innocence, maintaining that false and coerced testimonies are the only reason he was convicted. Les is currently serving a 24-year sentence for 2 charges of aggravated battery with a firearm stemming from a July 13, 2007 shooting in Woodlawn, a crime he insists he had nothing to do with. On the night of the shooting, Les was miles away at Head Knocka's studio recording music with his manager and producer. Meanwhile, at 7321 S Greenwood, 4 masked shooters in all black jumped out of a gold SUV and opened fire, injuring 2 people. Because everyone scattered, no one saw the shooters' faces. Yet, Sergeant Brian Forberg and Detective Kevin Eberle insisted the young men at the scene knew who did it. In the months that followed, Forberg and Eberle repeatedly threatened witnesses with fake drug charges unless they named Lester. According to a 2021 affidavit from witness Michael Ellis, Forberg fed him the narrative directly, telling him to claim one of the shooters lifted his mask to reveal an eye patch, Les's most recognizable feature. Forberg told Michael, "We need you to say it was Lil Les. Just say yes." At trial, the state's case fell apart logically. Officer Poblador, who actually chased the gunman that night, testified under oath that none of the shooters ever took off their masks and were too covered up to even identify by race. Furthermore, the witnesses refused to show up to court and were only brought in after arrest warrants were issued. Key witness Joel Jones later admitted to a private investigator that he only pointed out Les to avoid getting pinned with a bogus case. Despite his studio alibi, Les's defense failed to call his manager or producer to testify. In 2010, at just 17 years old, Les was convicted in a bench trial by Judge Timothy Joyce, who handed down 2 consecutive 12-year sentences. Les has now served over 13 years for a crime he maintained he allegedly didn't commit. Today, he fights for his freedom alongside attorney Geneva Penson and loved one Jasmine Smith, who uncovered that both Forberg and Eberle are married to members of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. With special prosecutors appointed to review the detectives' cases, 3 key witnesses have formally recanted their coerced statements, bringing the truth behind Lil Les's conviction to light. In July 2020, while still serving his time behind bars, Lil Les tragically lost another sibling when his younger brother, Rio G, was gunned down and killed. The loss dealt a massive blow to both KTS and PocketTown, marking another tragic chapter for the family following the death of Lady Shaw and the imprisonment of both Les and King Rico. The hit went down while the 24-year-old Rio G was sitting inside a vehicle parked at a gas station on the 7000 block of South Dahlman Avenue. He was in the car with 3 others, a 37-year-old man, a 14-year-old boy, and a 16-year-old boy. Out of nowhere, a silver SUV pulled up on them, and 2 shooters jumped out, opening fire directly into Rio G's car. Rio G took multiple shots and was rushed to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The 2 teenagers inside the car managed to survive the ambush after taking bullets to the back and right arm, while the 37-year-old man escaped the gunfire completely uninjured. When it comes to who pulled off the drill, street chatter remains split between 2 main theories. The primary theory points the finger directly at the Sirconn City gangsters. The motive was personal, as Rio G had been openly dissing City online right after he was backdoored, making him an even higher profile target for that set. According to inside sources from within Sirconn, they were responsible for taking him out. While specific names of the shooters haven't surfaced, signs point to Sirconn's younger shorties executing the hit, as they were the ones closest to City and were actively sliding behind his name. The second theory suggests that NLMB was actually behind Rio G's murder, which seems even more plausible for several reasons. Lil Don and other PocketTown members have repeatedly indicated that Rio G was No Limit's work, while several NLMB members have openly mocked Rio G and taken credit for the hit. On January 28, 2022, the one-year anniversary of the murder of NLMB's Lil Greg, Lil Don posted "Long Live Rio G" right as No Limit members were posting tributes to Greg. Responding to NLMB's posts with mockery, Don's message strongly pointed toward No Limit's direct involvement. While there's always a chance No Limit is falsely claiming the hit for clout, nobody from PocketTown has ever denied their responsibility. The specific No Limit members rumored to be behind the shooting are Pharaoh and Lil Les, both prominent figures in the aggressive NLMB subset known as Drench Gang. Looking closely at Pharaoh, an overlooked theory reveals a deeply personal motive for targeting Rio G that traces back 9 years prior. On June 2, 2011, Rio G was rumored to be involved in the murder of 26-year-old Randall Cummins, known on the block as Lil Black or Boss Blizz from Money Mafia/NLMB. Lil Black left behind 2 children, one of whom is Pharaoh. If those street rumors hold true, that personal retaliation explains why Pharaoh, who was only 16 years old in 2020, went after Rio G. Beyond that family history, Rio G was already linked to several other shootings and murders targeting both No Limit and Sirconn City, keeping a heavy target on his back. Since the incident, Pharaoh has mocked Rio G multiple times both online and in his music. In his track Real Facts, Pharaoh directly addressed the hit, rapping, "Rio got hit and they left him twitching," before adding, "Rio got hit and y'all ain't get your get back." Lil Les's story is a heavy testament to the harsh realities and brutal cycle of Chicago's street history. Having survived point-blank gunshot wounds and taken a massive 24-year sentence to shield his shorties, Les built a legendary status that made him one of the most respected enforcers on the South and East Sides. Yet, that loyalty came at an unbearable personal cost. While trapped behind bars, Les endured the heartbreaking loss of 2 of his siblings to the city's relentless violence. First came his younger sister, Lady Shaw, whose innocent life was cut short in a tragic shooting, leaving Les crushed and carrying a heavy weight of guilt. Years later, in July 2020, his 24-year-old brother Rio G was gunned down in a gas station ambush. Combined with his brother King Rico serving a 55-year sentence, the family has borne a devastating toll through 2 decades of conflict. Now, as the clock ticks down, Lil Les is scheduled for release within the next 4 years. When he steps back onto the pavement, he is expected to reclaim his position at the helm as the leader of PocketTown. However, the streets he returns to will be far from welcoming. A long list of rival gangs have not forgotten the bodies, the drills, or the decades of destruction tied to his name. With old rivalries still burning and a new generation eager to make a name for themselves, Lil Les will step out of prison straight into a dangerous spotlight, with targets on his back from ops who have waited years to get their revenge. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay safe, and may God bless you all. Let me know what you want to see next.